Oh man, am I tired? I was up all night uh, rescuing baby chicks because the thermostat in the brooder box broke. And at one point, they got way too cold. I heard them making a distress noise, and I went out there, and three of them I thought they were completely dead. They were they were cold and they were stiff. They were completely I picked them up and they were stiff. Their eyes were closed. I couldn't feel any heartbeat or pulse. And usually when you pick up a baby chick, you feel a very strong pulse. And I actually was able to resuscitate them. I'm really surprised. But anyway, I'm surprised that wasn't in my dreams last night. I had dreams about there was this property out in Centralia, Washington that was owned by the owner of Santa Lucia. It's a really fantastic coffee shop. And she had just purchased this property, and it was very shapely. It had lots of hills and curvature, and there was lots of um, mature pine trees, and there was a little creek running through the property. And she was going to rent it out for retreats. And my sisters and I were assessing how to go about making a women's retreat. And then my middle sister was like, "Hey, come and show this awesome place that I have now. This is going to be great for the retreats, and everyone can just stay in these apartments." And what it was this maze. It made out of like cage material. It was bars, and all the bars were painted blue. And the way that we were going to travel around looking at this cage was inside of another cage. But so my mom, my two sisters, and I were all going to go in this cage. Whoa! And travel through the cage maze and get a little tour of all the little rooms it had in it. I couldn't quite figure out how to move around in the cage, so I said, "You guys travel in the cage. I can't figure out the buttons, and I'll just walk behind you." And it was actually really hard to find them or follow them because their little cage vehicle moved really fast. And so I kept falling behind, but I was still following around with them, and all the cages were just little empty cage rooms the size of a very, very small bathroom, maybe like, I don't know, maybe even smaller than that. The rooms were like just like the size of a tent. So enough for someone to put down like a temporary floor and some sleeping bags. And it had many, many levels and layers. Like you could go up, you could go down, you could go this way, you could go that way. And there was one and only one room that was large. It was probably the size of one of those multi-family tents, and it looked like an apartment inside. It had carpet. In fact, it looked like the apartment that my middle sister rented when she was like 19. And there was clothes everywhere, and I went in there and I decided to take a break because I was tired. So I could hear them and see them kind of down this hallway going up and down and to all these different rooms. And then all of a sudden this man comes through one of the other hallways, and it's fucking Billy Corgan from the Smashing Pumpkins. And I'm like, "Hey." And he's like, "Hey." And um then we watched my oldest sister have a fashion show. She has a goth clothes fashion show, and Billy Corgan and I have sex. It was weird sex because we both had all our clothes on. I don't know, dream logic. And that was pretty much that dream. I had another dream that was really long, pretty epic story wise. There was a big, very steep hill at the end. It was like a dead end road. It might have even been in the same area, but big, steep, dead end road. And it ended at this like, it was kind of a wall of, so it was the wall of bricks, and that was holding in the earth. It was because it was a big hill, and then it had a forest on top of the hill. And there was this, like, junkie that was trying to get me to get drugs for him. And I was like, hey, I think I have the thing for you. And it was something about I had to go with my friend and fly way, way high up in the sky and then survey the forest below and find these little mini orange and yellow tiger lilies. They were teeny. They were like little mini tiger lilies. They were super cute. But I guess they were some kind of magic fairy flower that could make you have some special psychedelic experience, and it was really healing, and it would make you not an addict anymore. And I don't know, but you're not supposed to pick them because they belong to the fairies, and they're really rare, and they take like many, many years to bloom. So I fly around with this friend of mine, and I said, aha, I found some. And so we dip down, and there's also this man and his daughter, and he's been gathering them for years because his daughter has cancer, and he is attempting to cure the cancer. And there's not quite enough flowers in this, so we go down and we pick some, and he's like, I'm gonna kill you. And so he chases us, and we're crashing through the forest, and I'm like grabbing as many as I can as I'm running. And then we run down this hillside, and just when we get to the edge of the cliff along the brick wall, I launch into the air, and I fly way, way up, and I find the junkie again, and I'm like, here. And I kind of like fly close to him and stuff them in his mouth. And he's like, whoa, man. Oh, yeah, and he's with his mother. His mother is following him around everywhere. And I'm kind of putting this into a condensed version because I gotta go. And then yesterday I had a dream that I was at a house that was going to be sold, and the real estate agent came in, and I said, oh, we have to scan your IDs. And she was being super sketchy and said, oh, do you have to scan all of our IDs? I think you only need to scan one of ours in the group because you can't have my contact information and my license number out publicly like that. And I was like, oh, dang, you're right. Wait a minute. We'll just put a sticky note over the parts we don't want to see. And then she was like, and a bunch of weird stuff happened in that dream. Then I was with one of a family that was like a friend of my cousin's back in the day, and their son passed away several years ago. He died really, really young, really tragically, and he was in the dream, and we were just all having a good time, and we were gonna go to an Italian restaurant. They're an Italian family, and then I was supposed to go to this secret place that I knew of, and get everybody a hummingbird. And so I make the long trek out there, and then I find the secret place. I go down a trail, and this place is known, like, only really sketchy people go there. Only thieves, or like people that are sneaking out to have sex, or people that go to do drugs, or people that are up to no good are the only people that go down this path. And there's this massive pile of debris, like sticks, uprooted trees, building equipment, lumber, and it's the size of a building. And there's hummingbirds of every color and every shape and size buzzing about it, and going in and out of the crevices of this debris pile. And so I get there, and I catch a few in my hand, I let them go, and I'm thinking about what I'm doing, and I think, this is kind of wrong. I felt a great pressure in this dream to bring back a hummingbird for each person, by the way. It was a very deep pressure. So it was a battle with myself, thinking like, these hummingbirds are perfectly happy here, and taking them away would kill them. And I just can't do that. But I also can't deny this request. And I didn't know what to do. And I was just kind of, milling about, climbing over this debris pile, catching and releasing hummingbirds. And then I caught another one in my hand, a dull colored one. And she buried her beak in my hand and it broke off. It was really gross and it caused me to be a little bit lucid. And I thought, fuck their expectations. This is harmful. This is wrong. And I'm not going to be pressured into doing something that I know and I feel in my heart that is wrong. So I let it go and I came back empty-handed. And they didn't make it as big of a deal as it was in the beginning, and that was great. And the day before that, I had a dream. I can't remember because I waited too long to record it. Something about driving. That's all I remember. But, all right, I'm going to cut it off here. That was my dreams in a nutshell. And I'm going to go to class. Bye.